I know developing aesthetic shoulders can be a challenge for many people, but I'm going to share with you a simple and underrated body weight exercise you can do anywhere to help you develop this important but hard to grow muscle group. There is research backing up this movement I'll touch on later. Before I get into it though, I know a lot of you have shoulder issues and you may not be able to do this movement without pain yet. I say yet because you need to remember our bodies are incredibly adaptable and resilient, so with proper rehab and recovery, you should be able to progress up to this. If you don't have shoulder issues, you can just skip ahead to the next chapter using timestamps. Now, I can't cover every shoulder injury in a short video, but these principles will help most people that are not to the point of needing surgery or medical intervention. Personally, I developed what I call a loose shoulder from doing heavy shoulder presses in college, but ever since incorporating isometrics with bands, the problem really has gone away. And you can do these with any loop band, just toss it around a pole and then hit different isometric holds right before where your pain is. My favorite angle is probably the 90, as I call it, because you just put your arm in a 90-degree angle and then rotate. So find a position where you don't have pain and just hold with about 50% of max resistance for 30 seconds. And then find the place where you do have pain and just get to the position right before that and do the hold there where you don't have pain. This will help strengthen and shuttle blood to that area, promoting recovery and stability. Do this on both sides for 3 sets of 30-second holds. You can do these isos every morning or evening and experiment with resistance from the floor, where you can step on the band and try different arm angles. This whole thing really should be intuitive more so than someone telling you exactly how to place your body. You just need to learn how to feel what feels good for you. Because the truth is everybody's bodies are different and everybody has different limitations. And remember, we don't want to hold through joint pain here. We just want to learn our range of motion, find the pain-free regions, and then work to increase the size of the pain-free range over time by performing these isometric holds right up to the edge of where your pain starts. A quick aside, people love to warm up like this, but I've always thought isometric holds were way better, as you don't want to swing your joints all around when you're cold. It's great to get them moving, but I think it's best to shuttle blood there first and then work through range of motion if you want. But if mobility is not your primary objective, I largely think this type of warm-up is suboptimal. Our shoulder development has a huge impact on our aesthetics, as it can help with the V-taper, and it's really the first muscle people see down from your face. Not that aesthetics is everything, but shoulders should not be something you neglect, whether your goal is aesthetics or overall performance, capability, or mobility. And if you've ever had rotator cuff issues, you know how important it is to try to avoid that. So we want to strengthen not just the show muscles, but the go muscles and the tendons like the rotator cuff as well. So one of my favorite accessory movements for the shoulders is the hip elevated bear crawl, performed with the hips higher than your shoulders. By keeping the hips a bit higher, we can stack more of the weight over our hands, and this loads the shoulders a bit more. But it also moves the shoulders into a greater degree of shoulder flexion. When you first do this, you can experiment with your head hanging down or looking forward a bit, really whichever's comfortable for you. The objective here is not to move fast or to cover ground, it's just to place the weight directly through your shoulder joint. I'll do one set of an iso hold either at the top, bottom, or middle of the range after doing a band iso hold. And as always, experiment with different hand widths to find where you feel it most through your shoulders, and most people actually feel it better in reverse. In this position, we can recruit all the muscles of our shoulders, including the upper traps. And what I like about the hip elevated bear crawl is that by moving from one arm to the next, we're challenging the lateral and posterior delt to stabilize the torso and really prevent it from rotating with each step. Said another way, the tendency with this movement is to bounce side to side, so just try to stay stable and smooth and you'll activate those muscles. So the whole shoulder region is being stimulated during this movement, making it a very efficient exercise. And since the movement is technically simple and safe, you can push it pretty hard without worrying about falling on our heads or breaking your neck or having some other sort of disaster, which unfortunately is something that can happen when you train with rings. I promised research, here it is. One from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning has shown that quadrupedal movements, just using all fours, like the HE bear crawl, create a unique stabilization demand that activates more shoulder musculature than traditional additional exercises. A 2019 study found that these movements engage the rotator cuff muscles more effectively, which is crucial for shoulder health and development. Think about it like building a house on sand. You don't want to have huge delts if the underlying muscles and structure can't even support them. Now, in terms of programming, HE bear crawls can serve as a finisher or just a push variation for the day. Either way, just do them slowly and controlled, moving forward and backwards. I think that's pretty important to get full stimulation across the shoulders. I'd recommend working up to 5 minutes straight, doing that a few times per week. You can always increase the time beyond this point, but even 5 minutes of HE bear crawls will likely leave your shoulders pretty smoked, pumped up, and on fire. Plus, if you have any calisthenic ambition for handstand push-ups, this can be a good way to progress into that. And the beauty of this movement is it requires no equipment and can be done from anywhere. Even special forces units around the world have used these bear crawls and similar quadrupedal movements in their training for decades because they build not just strength, but also the endurance and stability crucial for combat readiness. Just make sure you warm up well, and as with everything, start small and progress your way to longer time under tension.